Yeah, 1 and 1 is 2, and 2 is 2 is 4. 3 and 3 is 6, so now let's try some more.
Use a function f of x equals 2x to the third plus 4x squared plus 5x minus 7 to complete the following sentences. The degree, okay, let's look at degree. The degree is the highest exponent. So this one, I'm just going to write it. This is 1. This is x to the 0. So the highest degree would be a 3. So response number 4 would be C. The leading coefficient is like a leader. It's in front of the highest degree. So this one is nice because it's already in descending order. Here is my leading coefficient. It is positive. It is a 2. So response number 5 is B. 8 and 9. And number 8 we skipped. Number 9 is each expression a polynomial. So a couple of things here. Remember, the exponents should be whole numbers. So that means no negatives. That's really messy. Fractions or variables, like 2 to the x power. That's an example. Or x to the 1/2. Or x to the -3. Does that make sense? Okay. So here, this one looks good. This is a polynomial. Okay, you can have a fraction as the leading coefficient, so that's fine. That one's a polynomial. Point 2, complete the sentences, describe the n behavior. When you see the word n behavior, you should just be looking for arrows. Well, let's draw a sketch of this one. This is a odd, use a pen, odd degree. And the easiest odd degree we know is x to the first, because 1 and 3 there are odd. So that one starts down, ends up going from left to right. This one's called our leading coefficient. If it's positive, like 5 is positive right there, then these arrows here stay the same. So basically my graph's going to look something like this. It is a power function that just basically means there's nothing else over here, and it goes through the origin. Okay, so now I need to determine the n behavior. So this is x, this is the y, or we also call that f of x. On the x-axis, these are negative numbers. We call that negative infinity. Over here is positive. Down here on the y-axis, or f of x, those are negative numbers, and this one is positive. So going from left to right, I see that the graph is going, well, let's read this one. I know they do it kind of backwards here. As x goes towards negative infinity, so this is going towards the left, what happens to my graph? Well, if I go towards the left, the graph or the arrow goes where? Down. So that would be negative infinity is my answer. As f of x goes towards the positive number, so on the x-axis, that means it's going towards the right. There's my arrow. That means it's going to positive infinity would be our answer.
Again, these are just questions directly from your packets. The question is, can you listen and can you actually show us you understand it? Determine each quotient using polynomial what? Synthetic division. A lot of you guys did a good job by marking the text by like underlining that, so you knew. Write the dividend as the product of the divisor and quotient plus the remainder. I have x to the 4th. Its coefficient is a 1, so I wrote a 1 here. Negative 3x cubed, I write a negative 3. So you're just writing the numbers in front. 6x squared, that becomes our 6. Negative 12x, I take the negative 12, and then I have 8. In synthetic division, you're taking the factor. You know it's a factor because it has parentheses. And to get a 0, we set it equal to, what do we set it equal to? We set it equal to 0. So to solve this, I add 1 to both sides. These will cancel to equal 0, so x equals 1. To do synthetic division, you're going to bring it down. There's your 1. Then you're going to multiply. And then you're going to add or subtract. Add. Negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. Multiply. You have negative 2 here. 6 minus 2 gives you a 4. 1 times 4 is 4. Negative 12 plus 4 is negative 8. And 1 times negative 8 is negative 8. 8 plus negative 8, or 8 minus 8 is 0. Remember, this here represents your remainder. Remainder. And then as you go from right to left, what direction, class? These are now your constants of your answer, or the quotient. So, remainder. A lot of you guys struggled writing this, so do it with me. This is your constant, meaning you don't add an x, you just leave it as the number. And you start adding the x, x squared, x cubed. Then it says write the dividend. Remember the dividend. That's what's on the inside of your long division. So if I had long division, something like this, the dividend is this one. Write it as a product equals, the product means multiplication. You should be using parentheses. The student who didn't use the parentheses and just put a dot there, use parentheses. Product of the divisor. So the divisor I'm going to put in pink. That's x minus 1. Normally that's out here, right? So there's my x minus 1. Essentially this is your divisor. But remember you have to transform it. And the quotient, so the quotient is what's normally on the inside. Or I'm sorry, the quotient is our answer. So here's our answer that we've transformed. Let's write that, quotient. This one is our divisor. Quotient green. Plus the remainder. Now our remainder was 0, so I don't have to write plus 0 there. How did I score this problem? A really rare case, if you're doing something correct, like if you knew how to just drop this down, I gave you 2 out of 4 points, even if the rest of it was wrong. You probably got 3 out of 4. Maybe your remainder was slightly off. Maybe you didn't know how to write the product. Very rarely, but if you did long division here and you got it all correct, I gave you 3 points. I took off a point for not using synthetic division. When you take your test next time, I'm going to give you a 0. It's kind of like it says fill out this application in pencil, and you use pen. It's like show up with a check for $20. Like, you brought cash? Like, what are you doing? So pay attention to the directions.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's paper, nor anything that he has. I love man.